All right, let's talk about the electric car. You see them everywhere now, right? They feel so new, so futuristic. But what if I told you this isn't a new story at all? In fact, it's one of the greatest comeback stories in the history of technology. No, that's not a typo. The 1830s. Long before the internal combustion engine was king, there were these quiet, simple electric carriages. So you have to wonder, if this tech is almost 2 centuries old, why did it basically vanish for 100 years? To really understand the EV revolution that's happening right now, we've got to rewind the clock. We need to look at the first electric revolution, the one that got started and then sputtered out over a century ago. This timeline is pretty wild when you look at it. The first electric carriages pop up way back in the 1830s. And by 1900, get this, almost a third of all cars in the US were electric. They were quiet, they didn't smell, and you didn't have to break your arm with a hand crank to get them started. But then, two things happened that changed everything. First, Henry Ford started churning out affordable gasoline cars. And second, the electric starter was invented in 1912, which made gas cars way easier to use. And just like that, the electric car was basically put out to pasture. I mean, this quote really says it all. This wasn't some niche hobby for inventors. The President of the United States was cruising around in an electric car. But in the end, cheap, convenient gasoline won out. And the electric car went into a long, long sleep, only popping up here and there until its huge comeback in the 2010s. So what's different this time around? What makes today's EVs so much more compelling? Well, it's all about what's going on under the hood. So let's pop it open and look at the nuts and bolts, or, the batteries and wires that make these things go. The heart of an EV is actually way simpler than a gas engine. You've got the battery pack, which is basically its gas tank. Then there's the inverter, which is super important. It takes the battery's DC power and flips it to the AC power the motor needs. You've got the electric motor itself, which spins the wheels, and overseeing it all is the controller, kind of like the car's brain. It's a really elegant and efficient setup. So the whole process is a simple 1, 2, 3. Power is stored as DC in the battery. The inverter converts it to AC. The motor uses that AC power to create torque and spin the wheels. That's it. There are no tiny explosions, no pistons flying up and down, just clean, direct power from electromagnetism. And that directness is exactly what makes EVs feel so quick and efficient. Okay, so you've probably heard all these acronyms being thrown around: HEV, PHEV, BEV. It can get a little confusing, but they all just represent different steps on the road to going fully electric. Let's quickly break down what they all mean. This chart makes it super clear. A standard hybrid, an HEV, has a gas engine and a small battery. You never plug it in, it just charges itself when you brake. Next up is the plug-in hybrid, the PHEV. It also has a gas engine, but the battery is bigger and you do plug it in. That lets you drive a decent distance on just electricity. And finally, you have the BEV, the battery electric vehicle. That's the real deal. No gas engine at all, just a big battery that you plug in. So we've seen where they came from and how they work, but the billion-dollar question is, why now? After 100 years, what changed to bring the electric car roaring back into the mainstream? A huge piece of the answer is this number right here, 90%. An electric motor converts about 90% of its energy directly into moving the car. A gas engine? It's lucky to hit 30 or 40%. Most of the energy in gasoline is just wasted as heat. So right off the bat, EVs are just a fundamentally smarter way to use energy. And here's the other number that's completely changing the game. 0. That is the number of tailpipe emissions from a fully electric car. In a world worried about climate change and smog in our cities, that single digit is incredibly powerful. But hey, the appeal is about way more than just the environment. The driving experience itself is totally different. You get instant torque, which means that acceleration is incredibly quick and smooth. With way fewer moving parts, there are no oil changes and a lot less maintenance. They're also whisper quiet, and they can even recapture energy when you brake. These are real, tangible benefits that you feel every single day. So the future is electric. Case closed, right? Well, it's not quite that simple. The road to an all-electric world is filled with amazing opportunities, but there are also some pretty big hurdles we've got to get over. The good stuff is obvious: cleaner air, quieter cities, amazing efficiency. But the hurdles are real too. How do we get the materials for all these batteries without causing other problems? Can our power grid handle millions of cars plugging in? And what about the high sticker price, or that range anxiety, that fear you'll run out of juice in the middle of nowhere? These are the tough questions we're grappling with right now.
But the real key to this whole comeback, the reason we're even having this conversation, is this right here. The cost of batteries is plummeting. A 97% price drop in 30 years is just staggering. That is the single biggest reason EVs are moving from a tiny niche into the mainstream. It's making this incredible technology affordable for more and more people.
And that brings us to the big final question. The electric car is back from its century-long nap, powered by incredible new tech and a new set of priorities. It offers this amazing vision of the future. But as we speed down this electric highway, we have to ask ourselves, are we actually driving towards a cleaner, better world? Or are we just trading one set of problems for another? The answer to that is going to define the road ahead for all of us.